I'm here with James Thornton, CEO of Intrepid Travel. Intrepid Travel is a founding supporter of the UN Global Compact Network Australia, working with us on our leadership portfolio. Intrepid Travel is a sponsor of the UN Global Compact's SME and Sustainable Supply Chain programme, and a member of the Global Coalition for Sustainable Procurement. So James, thank you so much for being here, and also thank you for your support of the UN Global Compact, both locally and globally. So we're sitting here today in the headquarters of Intrepid Travel here in Melbourne, Australia. What does effective sustainability leadership look like in Australia? We have this unique environment, floods, fires, lots of things happening that are impacting the community.
I think we need to be ambitious but pragmatic in terms of our leadership here in Australia. I think Europe very much leads the way, but Australia has unique situations going on in terms of the fires or the flooding. And as a global tour operator, we're welcoming customers into the destination, trying to show them the local communities, the unique food, the culture of a place. And that can obviously be impacted significantly by climate change. And again, one of the things we're seeing as a global tour operator is the number of instances of climate-related impacts on our trips is growing hugely. Literally almost every single day, we're having some instance somewhere in the world. So I think it's incumbent, particularly on travel companies and leaders, to look to decarbonise wherever they can. In the case of Intrepid, decarbonising our supply chain is arguably one of the most effective actions we can take. But it's also pretty hard in some places. So if you imagine, the biggest impact we have is by our flying. And yet if you don't fly, you can't get to some of the places around the world. So we need to continue to lobby governments to get change happening, but also be pragmatic. And I think the last thing I'd say is you want to have progress over perfection. I think often businesses are looking at issues of sustainability thinking they have to be immediately perfect, and it's just not the reality about what happens. It's about taking incremental steps, stage by stage, measuring your progress and trying to continue to move forward.
Intrepid has been a pioneer in responsible tourism. How do you balance sustainability, growth and innovation where expectations from not only investors but also regulators and of course the community are rapidly increasing?
So Intrepid operates more than 1,000 trips to 100 countries around the world. So there's lots of complexity there. And of course, we want to continue to grow to have influence. But ever since our inception at Intrepid, we've had very strong impact outcomes and focuses. We wanted to make sure we give back to the communities and the places that we visit. And if we don't do that, we ultimately can't have a business. So the approach that we take in Intrepid is a balanced scorecard approach. It means that, yes, we measure our revenue and our profit to ensure that we're growing and providing opportunities, but also rewarding our shareholders and being able to reinvest in our business. But equally, it's just as important for us that we deliver our customer goals, our people goals, and our impact goals. And the best way to make that happen is to incentivize against that collection of 5 goals, which I think makes Intrepid maybe rather unique versus traditional corporate world, in that much of incentivization is just about revenue or profit. At Intrepid, incentivization is very much about all 5 of those goals, and we need to achieve all 5 of those goals to be able to reward and recognize our team. So I think that's how you go about striking the right balance and behaviors.
How do geopolitical trends, especially those in the Asia Pacific, influence Australia's sustainability priorities and, of course, opportunities for leadership?
Intrepid's a really global company, so less than half our customers come from Australia. The vast majority actually come from the Northern Hemisphere. The vast majority of our customers are actually travelling all over the world to more than 100 countries. So I suppose a company like Intrepid is always navigating geopolitical changes, climate issues, sustainability issues in many, many countries all around the world, all at the same time. So I think we're always trying to take a pragmatic lens to issues that are occurring. But of course, some of the trends we're trying to do is to take great leadership examples in some countries and try and adopt them into others. So spending time in China last year and seeing the huge adoption of electric vehicles really prompted us, as part of our decarbonisation initiatives, to challenge our supply chain. We've had great examples in Nepal now, where all of our airport transfers are operated by electric vehicles fleet. So I think the key thing is kind of watching and learning and seeing what's happening in different locations, then trying to adapt best practices from those locations.
How do you communicate sustainability progress in a way that builds trust, given the increasing scrutiny on greenwashing?
At Intrepid, we've been trying to communicate sustainability for 15, 20 years. So I think it's something that you're always looking to try and improve upon and get incrementally better at. think it's always trying to hold yourself to a higher accounts and a higher bar, and we're working across many different jurisdictions. So I think you're always looking to what's the leading jurisdiction, and that might often come from Europe, for example, and then holding ourselves to account on that basis across every single region. I think Intrepid contributed to the Global Compact's greenwashing course, which is one way in which we can provide examples of actions that we have taken in real specific examples about how we try and tackle it. But ultimately, it's always about just trying to be better and recognize that you won't necessarily always be absolutely perfect. And if you make mistakes, holding your hand up to those mistakes and looking to make improvement from there.
2026 marks 15 years of the UN Global Compact in Australia. As a participating company, and you've been involved from the very beginning, what are your reflections on 15 years of the UN Global Compact Network Australia, and what would you like to see for the future?
Well, Intrepid was super proud to be a founding partner of the Compact here in Australia back in 2008, I think. And look, I've been at Intrepid for 21 years now, and I can't really imagine Intrepid of growing and evolving in the way that we have and the way in which we think and behave and try and do better all the time without the influence of the Global Compact. It's been really integral to us and the way we've evolved and the way we've tried to progress as an organisation. So I think my big hope for the future is that the Compact continues to want to be ambitious, that it wants to have more influence upon the world, that it continue to take that positivity around change and ultimately have more influence so that we can really change the way in which business is tackled, achieved and done.